Good morning and welcome to Coffee with Colleen. I'm Colleen Hammond. Today's topic is the 10 things that happy people don't do. So let's learn from their mistakes and make our lives happier. Let's get started. Okay, we all make mistakes. But the happy, successful people are the ones that learn from their mistakes. What are the top 10 mistakes that people have made? What are the top 10 things that happy, successful people don't do again? The mistakes that they don't repeat. So if you're joining us for the first time, my name is Colleen Hammond. I'm a former on-camera meteorologist for the Weather Channel. I'm now an image strategist. Basically, I teach women how to dress their best for their age, their career, their coloring, their body type. Because you know what? People judge us in the blink of an eye, and you want to look great. Because when you do look good, first of all, you give a great first impression. And second of all, you feel amazing. So yeah, it was a new intro, Sarah. You're absolutely right. I tried to find one that was a little bit shorter. So what are the 10 things that happy, peppy, wonderful, successful people do or don't do? Because we do all make mistakes. So there are certain things that happen in life and in business, and there's certain realizations that people come to. They're like, ping, never gonna do that again. So as opposed to making the mistakes, I thought it'd be really cool to look at the 10 things that people don't do again, the mistakes that people have made that they learn from. So these are the people that they make a mistake and then they get it. They take enough time. Good morning, Lori and Lisa and Sarah and Natasha, that they go, oh, wait, boom, don't do that again. So number one, when they make a mistake, they don't return to what hasn't worked. You know, what's that saying that the sign of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and again and expecting a different result? Same concept. Whether it's your job, whether it's a relationship, whatever has happened in our life. Good morning, Tina. I hope you got those glasses. If you repeat those same things, like I'm going to do it again, because this time I'm going to do it better, and it's going to, oh man, it still didn't work. I'm going to do it again, because we like that comfort zone, don't we? We like that area where we're comfortable, and change isn't necessarily comfortable. But as opposed to making the same mistake over and over and over again. When a relationship doesn't work out, dig down into it, find out why it didn't. When you try something new in your personal life or in your business and it doesn't work out, dig down, find out why it didn't work. Don't do it again. So happy, peppy, successful people don't repeat those mistakes. They don't return to what didn't work. They find a different way to do things. Number two, they don't do anything that violates their values, their ethics, and their non-negotiables. Let me repeat that. They don't do anything that violates their non-negotiables, anything that causes them to be someone that they're not. Tina, I'm so glad you got the glasses. Tina posted a picture of these glasses that she was getting and asked about them. So yay, glad you got them. So am I suited for this? Why am I doing this? Does it fit me? Does it fit my goals? Does it fit in business? Does it fit my brand? And if you are your own personal brand, you have your values, your ethics, your morals, your non-negotiables. Don't ever violate those. You know, there's so many times in our life. Good morning, Patricia. There's so many times in our life where we're presented a situation where, first thing that came to my mind was if I would change something about my book and my code, that, you know, this a company, huge, they offered me $50,000 a month if I would change something about, you know, when you dress in a certain way, you know, it just, so many scientific studies have said, when you dress like a hoochie mama, you're going to get treated like a hoochie mama. Is it fair? I don't know. You know, I guess not. You know, we shouldn't be judged for how we look, but guess what? We are. You know, people in 0.2 of a second determine whether or not they trust us or not. And so this company came to me and said, but if you'll just change the way you teach this one thing, because we think that, I'm like, I can't. First of all, the scientific evidence doesn't proves against what you want me to do. And what you want me to say Science, the studies all prove that that's not true. But we're going to offer you $50,000 a month and we'll support you and we'll get you sponsorships and we'll do this and we'll do this and this and we'll do this. But you got to say that it's okay for women to wear low cut tops. I said, I can't do it because that violates women. $50,000 a month. And it wasn't even, I didn't even consider it. I was insulted. I was truly insulted. So yeah, so where are your non-negotiables? Where do you draw the line? Because you will be presented with things in your life that will ask you to violate your personal code. And a lot of times it comes down to money, where somebody's going to offer you money, or other things. But anyway, if you just kind of go back to, why am I doing this? Am I suited for this? Does this violate anything? Can I look myself in the mirror tomorrow morning? Can I look myself in the mirror 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road, 200 years down the road? What's your overall big goal, right? I know what my big goal is as a Christian. I want to get to heaven. So I can't violate certain codes of ethics. So if you say, if this is going to violate any of those non-negotiables, don't do it. Just don't do it, because you will regret it later. And then you're going to be stuck in a situation you might not be able to get out of. So that's number 2. Spend a lot of time on that one, but that's a big one. Don't do anything that requires you to be something you are not. Number 3, don't try to change other people. You don't want people trying to change you. So don't try to change other people. When you realize that you can't force people to do something, when you realize that other people need their freedom to be allowed to make mistakes, they need to be allowed to do what they feel matches their moral code and their non-negotiables, even though it may not match ours. When you're free to stay in your own lane and allow other people to drive in their lane, to live their life the way they choose to live, even though you can see they're about to drive off a cliff, you can't change other people. And happy people recognize the fact that you can't impact another person's life if they don't want you to, right? Vision and values are non-negotiable, said supportive spouses. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So understanding that, stay in your own lane and let other people stay in theirs. You can't change other people, so don't try. Number 4, happy people realize that they can't please everybody. Some people are going to like us. Some people aren't. And that's okay. When you come to the realization that there are people in our lives that we're going to run across that they're just not going to like us, we may remind them of somebody. We may, it may not even be anything we did, because like I said earlier, people determine in 0.2 of a second whether or not they trust you. And they may not trust you because you remind them of somebody in their past experience that hurt them, that lied to them, that was not a nice person. It may be nothing to do with what you did. So understanding that you can't please everybody. I've told this story before. It's an Aesop's fable where, and I'll keep it really short. There's a man, an older man and his son, and they're walking to the farmer's market with their donkey, and they have, things on their donkey, and they're going along the trail, and somebody passes them, and they say, "Oh, look at that poor old man. He's walking. Why doesn't his son put his father on the donkey?" And they were like, "Oh, wow, well." So the dad gets on the donkey and they're walking along, and somebody says, "Oh, look at that poor donkey. Not only is he laden down with all the things for the market, the old man's riding the donkey." And they're like, "Oh yeah, that's true, that we shouldn't be on the donkey." So the older gentleman gets down, and because the son is lighter, so they say, well, the son gets on. So the son starts riding the donkey, and they're walking along, and pretty soon somebody passes and goes, "Oh, ungrateful son, he's riding and his poor father is walking. That donkey's strong enough, at least both of them could be on there." So both of them get on the donkey, and now the donkey's really laden down. Somebody walks by and says, "Oh, that poor donkey." We talk about, they're going to call PETA, right? Because it's ethical treatment of animals, right? And so they say, "Oh, that poor donkey, how would they feel? They should be carrying the donkey." So they're like, "Oh my gosh, that's a great idea." So they find a pole and they tie the donkey's feet and they hang the donkey from the pole so they can carry the donkey, because the poor donkey is tired at this point. And as they're walking over the bridge into town, the donkey panics, is struggling, breaks the pole. The donkey falls into the water and it drowns because its feet are tied. So it's that type of thing. If you're always looking externally for other people's approval and other people's support instead of looking at the person in the mirror and those people in your immediate life. You can't please everyone, so stop trying. There's going to be people that flat out just don't like you. So what? What does that change in your life? So you just don't have anything to do with them. How does that change you? It makes you happier because you don't have to deal with people that don't like you, right? So stop worrying about what other people think. Number 4, again, is happy people know that they can't please everyone. Number 5, happy people don't choose short-term comfort in exchange for long-term benefit. So what does this mean? Good morning, Sherry. Me, myself, and I get along just fine. Power perception. Yeah. Rick says, especially don't think you can change a person who has a mental illness. Isn't that sad? That's very, very true. That's very, very true. And some people try so hard. I can help you. I can help you. I can help you. And they insert themselves into a situation where they don't belong and where they have no impact. So again, number 5, don't choose a short-term comfort over a long-term benefit. So what does this mean? Sometimes it's painful in the short term, but the long-term benefits are helpful. I took 9 months to cure myself from cancer. Painful, but the long-term benefit, I'm still here and I'm healthier now than I was before. So there's that fundamental difference with the marshmallow test. And if you haven't given this test to your young children, this is something that you should do. You don't have to use marshmallows, but use something that they really, really like. Studies have shown that when they do this test on children, you can determine where they're going to be long-term and you know better what to work with them. Good morning, Judy. Natasha says when you stand, if you stand for everything, you end up standing for nothing. Yeah, it's the same thing like if you fall for something, you'll fall for anything type of thing. Yeah. Connie says, I've never heard the story before. Remember, the next time I waste my time thinking about someone who doesn't like me. Don't even bother. It's such a waste of time. But we're so drawn to go on to Amazon if you've written a book, right? You get on Amazon, you start reading all your 1-star reviews. Why? Read the 5-star reviews, right? It's so funny. You read the 1-star reviews. I haven't read the book yet, but I don't like the premise. Oh, wait a minute. Are you supposed to be writing a book review? Or somebody gives you a 1-star review because Amazon didn't ship their book soon enough. Well, that's rating Amazon. That's not rating the book. So we're so drawn to the negative instead of being drawn to the positive. So again, short-term comfort over long-term benefit. Make sure that you're choosing your long-term goals. So this goes for diet, exercise. This goes for business decisions. This goes for, again, going back to those non-negotiables. What are you choosing in the short term that may be a little bit more difficult up front, but the long-term benefit? So the marshmallow test is, Judy, we're so focused on those negatives. Natasha, a great Aesop fable. Yep. I should post it. A lot of people haven't heard that one. I grew up reading Aesop's fables. I read them to my children too. So marshmallow test is you sit your child down and you put 2 marshmallows in front of them and you say, you can have 1 marshmallow right now, or if you can wait, depending on their age, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever, I will give you both marshmallows. So short-term benefit, short-term comfort, long-term benefit. So children that are very impulsive will just say, I want it now, and they'll take it now. Other children will sit there and wait and say, I'll wait. I gave this to my children, and one of my children, who will remain nameless, said, but if I wait 15 minutes, can I have 3? I said, sure. So if I wait 20 minutes, can I have 4? I'm like, sure. We got all the way up to 30 minutes, so but they saw that long-term benefit and were able to do that short-term discomfort for the long-term benefit. I said, yeah, but you got to sit here the entire time. You got to sit here and look at those marshmallows the entire time. So do the yeah, it was, Sherry. It absolutely was. Rick says, young teacher was upset. She had a student who didn't like her and couldn't do anything to reach him. She was reassured when I told her that sooner or later, every teacher, no matter how good and kind, will run into a student who just hates them. It's shocking the first time, but inevitable. And not only teachers know that. Yeah, isn't that sad? Yeah. So anyway, can you choose short-term discomfort knowing that you'll have a long-term benefit? Happy people can do that. Great negotiator in the making. Oh, believe me, he is. He's 24 now. Number 6, happy people have learned not to trust someone or something that looks perfect. It's one of those things where if it looks perfect or it seems perfect, there might be a catch. It's not being pessimistic, it's being realistic. Because when it looks too perfect, give it a sniff test. Yeah, might not be the one, right? Amy says, must be in the name of Heaven Ian, and I can see him doing that, says Amy. One now and one for Ram is in later on. Oh, I like that. That's great, Vicky. You always come up with the greatest things. So it's natural for us to be drawn to like the perfect, what looks so beautiful, and this is why we always put up these big, pretty pictures of ourselves on social media, right? I don't post any pictures of what I look like when I first roll out of bed. Do you? I should do that. That would be funny. It's a sanguine in me. That would be funny. I would look horrible. That would be hilarious. So pursuing people that are great at what they do, and emulating or trying to strive for perfection is one thing. But happy, successful people know then when it looks too good to be true, chances are it's not quite what it appears to be. So the world is imperfect. Nobody, no thing, no nothing is without a flaw. And if things appear perfect, take a step back. Just take a step back. Or if people try to push you into a decision too soon, take a step back. Because if they can wait 5 minutes, if it can wait 10 minutes, then it is what it is. But if somebody tries to shove you into something too soon, too quick, and your gut is telling you, then peel back that layer and look, because, if you've learned to train your gut and your instincts. Good morning, Brenda. Then that's a good thing. Number 7, happy, successful people don't take their eyes off the big picture. When we can see a universal concept, and men are usually a little bit better at this than women. Women tend to be more detail oriented and break things down into chunks and steps. And men are like, this is, for the greater common good, we should move the family to, Texas. And women are like, okay, man, I need new doctors. That means we've got to pack. How many boxes are we going to need? I just painted the living room, So women tend to look more at details and in general, and men tend to see overarching concepts. But it's important to look at the big picture. It's important to look at where you're headed, where are you going, and how are you going to get there, obviously. But when you get tripped up by the little things along the way, do you quit? Or do you constantly remind yourself of a bigger goal, of where you want to be in, for example, in my example, 200 years? Where do I want to be 200 years from now? My goal is heaven. So if I'm tripping now, or things are happening, if things are going on, you know what? Can you pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and keep going? Happy, successful people know that they're going to get tripped in life, that things are going to happen, that roadblocks are going to occur. And how do you look at the roadblock? Do you say, oh, roadblock, sitting down? Or do you say, roadblock, there's a way over, under, around, or through? And sometimes that detour, as long as you keep your eyes on where the target is, where the goal is, where you intend to go, what's a detour? What's a roadblock? What's happening in your life that's a roadblock right now? Get up and dust yourself off. We are here for you. The cool coffee crew, right? We are here for you. Dust yourself off and keep going toward, even if they're baby steps. But the hardest part is getting up and dusting yourself off. That ground is a long way down sometimes, right? Just don't take your eyes off the big picture. Where are you headed? Just get up. And sometimes just getting up and pausing is where you need to be. You just get up. Just get up. Look at your big term goal, your long-term goal. Where are you headed in the long term? When the children are misbehaving and your big long-term goal is to, if you're homeschooling them or you're sending them to a special school or whatever you're doing with your children, things aren't going as planned. Can you keep looking at the big picture of where you want to be in 3, 5, 10, 20 years? Or do you go like, I'm done. I give up. Those happy people keep going. Climb the fence. Yeah. Number 8. Happy, successful people know they have to do their due diligence. What does this mean? Well, taking a deeper look. Not taking everybody's word for granted. Yeah, go over the fence. Don't just sit on it, right? Detours offer opportunity for a great exploration, discovery, and learning, says Vicky. Very good. Yeah. So be honest. Due diligence. Be honest about what we really need to know about something, and do your homework. Don't always trust other people to do what needs to be done, right? So doing your due diligence. Number 9, failing to ask why they are where they are. Yeah, this kind of goes down to accepting responsibility for your own actions. Why are you in the situation that you're in right now? What did you do that may have contributed to it, even in a small way? Remember what they say about pointing the finger? When you point the finger, you got 3 pointing back at yourself. So not looking at themselves as a victim, even though they may have been victimized, but being able to accept the responsibility for where they are right now and taking the next step to get out of the hole, to move on to the next step. So always asking yourself, what role did I play in this situation? Even when other people, do I need to apologize to somebody else? Did I have a role to play in that? Did I have a role to play in where I am right now? And sometimes you didn't. You were totally victimized. It kind of like when I got cancer, I'm like, okay, what role did I play in this? Does it matter? Can I use this experience to teach somebody else not to get in this situation? And sometimes cancer is just cancer. It's just one of those things that happens. There is no reason why. There's nothing we did. And sometimes we're purely the victim of the circumstances, wrong place, wrong time type of thing. But the ability to stop and pause and say, what role did I have in getting into this situation? Or what role did I have? And just honestly, purely examining within yourself, being honest with yourself. And if you didn't have a role, dust off your shoes and move on. If you did, do what you can to resolve that, because those things hang in the back of your mind and they hang over your head like Linus, the little dark cloud that follows you around, right? Or Pigpen, I mean. There's like that dark cloud that kind of seems to follow you around. Accept responsibility for your own actions. Look at the situation and see, what did I have to contribute that got me here? And if it was absolutely nothing, then let it go and move on. If there was something, what can you do to repair the damage to yourself or to another person? Do what you can and then move on, because sometimes even an apology is not accepted. Can you be the person? This is kind of a funky way to say it, but can you be the person that accepts an apology from someone even though they don't give it? Do you understand what I mean? Sometimes people, you want to be forgiven, you ask for forgiveness, and somebody may not forgive you. Can you, in your mind, say, you know what? Someday they will see the light and they will forgive me. So in advance, I'm going to accept their apology and I'm going to move on. I'm going to let it go. That's an important lesson to learn, to be able to accept the apology that was never given, to be able to let it go and to move on. And number 10, yeah, the blame game. Absolutely. Accepting the crosses that God sends us, says Melanie. Yep. Oh, Lisa, I didn't see Lisa come in. Good morning, Lisa. Beth is here. Morning. Lori says playing the blame game. Haven't been able to call you back, Lori. Nice talking to you yesterday, though. It was great to hear your voice. And not making excuses, like Sherry said. Number 10, happy, successful people never forget that their inner life determines many of their outward successes. What do you do to support your inner life? And we're not just talking about the food you eat. We're talking about your inner life, your meditation, your prayer time, your spiritual being, your soul, what are you doing to support the inner life for eternal life? I saved that one for number 10 for a reason. It should be number 1. Because when you're at peace with who you are and the choices that you make, and your non-negotiables, and your ability to forgive others even though they haven't, accept that apology that was never given, it opens up life in a whole new way. When you understand by supporting your spiritual life and your inner life that you are here for a reason, that you have a role to play, if it's to impact one person's life or a million people's lives. What's the value of a soul? What's the value of another person? You can't put a price tag on that, right? So what's inside, and how can you support and make that person better? Can you grow in virtue every day? Can you grow in your ability to love every day? And English is kind of funky because we have one word for love, where other languages have multiple words for love. You've ever read C.S. Lewis's The Five Loves? And we're not talking about the 5 love languages, right? We're talking about that, I love my husband. I love my children. It's a different kind of love. I love my coffee in the morning. That's a different kind of love. So there are different kinds of love, but in the English language, we just say love, So understanding that we love ourselves, it's that self-care. Do you have your list yet? Do you have your list of self-care items? I want 10 things on your list of what you do for self-care. So in understanding everybody makes mistakes. And that's part of your inner life, is being able to be at peace with who you are and at peace with whom other people are and who they choose to be. Allow them their own journey. Help if you can, help if they ask you, but allow them their own journey at their own pace. And I have my own journey and my own pace. You have your own journey that you're going on at your own pace. So pain is unavoidable. But repeating the same pain twice is avoidable. So we don't need to find new ways to fail. If other people have already failed, let's just let's not do it that way, right? So our task in life is to observe the mistakes that other people have made, to learn from those mistakes, and very importantly, to observe our own life and our own mistakes. And what can we learn from take the time to hit the pause button and say, what happened today that I can learn from and make sure that it never happens again. So I hope this information was helpful for you. If you are watching me live, I'm going to be back in just a second. If you are watching me on YouTube, if you want to send me a note, click the link in the comments section below and make sure that you do follow, like, and share me on YouTube. And if you found this information helpful, please share it out as well. So until next time, I'll see you. Thank you so much for being here, and God bless you. Bye now.